Near a shallow dip in the dry earth, a lone elephant cow moved with heavy, deliberate steps. Her swollen belly carried the weight of new life. Every stride uneven, every breath a reminder of the burden she bore. Her ears flicked, her trunk shifted restlessly. She could sense them before she saw them. Out from the shadows of the grassland, shapes emerged, steady and patient, moving with the quiet rhythm of predators who understood the value of time. Hyenas, not the scavengers of myth, but hunters who knew when the odds were in their favor. Moonlight caught in their eyes, fleeting sparks in the darkness, as their paws slid soundlessly across brittle earth. They fanned out in an arc, closing in, not rushing, but with the inevitability of a tide. For this elephant, there was no herd to protect her unborn calf. She had wandered too far from the safety of numbers. Her trunk lifted, curling as if she could smell their intentions. A low rumble vibrated through her chest, not a warning to them, but reminded herself, stand your ground. Still, the hyenas did not charge. They circled, watching her sway, seeing the slight stagger when her weight shifted. They knew what she carried, and in the wild, such a gift could also be a weakness. The leader stepped forward, a scarred female with a torn ear, her shoulders rippling with silent power. She edged close, measuring the reach of the great trunk, the arc of ivory tusks. Behind her, the pack wove through grass, appearing and vanishing like ghosts. The elephant pivoted sharply, her massive frame swinging with surprising speed for her condition. Moonlight caught on her tusks, glinting like blades. For a heartbeat, the world held, predator and prey suspended in a fragile balance. Then the first strike came, not from the front, but the right, a blur of mottled fur, jaws snapping, testing her. Her trunk lashed down like a branch in a storm, striking the hyena across the shoulder. A sharp yelp tore through the silence, but the night swallowed it quickly. Another darted in from the opposite side, a feint to draw her attention away. The leader pressed closer still. The elephant's breath grew harsher now, white steam curling into the cool air. She swung again, tusks slicing, but each movement drained her strength. The circle tightened. The pack knew their craft too well. The torn-eared leader crept forward, her eyes fixed not on the face, but the vulnerable flank, thick with muscle, yet beyond the sweep of tusks. Time was on their side. With every spin, every swing, the weight of her unborn calf pulled her down. Then it came, a sharp crack of breaking grass behind her. She froze. For the first time, hesitation flickered. Her ears spread wide, searching the dark. Something moved there. Not a hyena. Heavier. Each step sent a faint tremor through the ground. The hyenas paused, instincts colliding with caution. The leader flicked her ears, weighing the risk. The elephant's posture changed. Her trunk rose high, and she released a deep, resonant call. Not fear, not panic, a summoning, a promise. It rolled across the plain, heavy and low, as if carried on the bones of the earth itself. From the darkness, massive forms began to take shape, moving with slow, unstoppable purpose. The hyena's circle wavered, but did not break. Not yet. The leader's gaze flicked between the prize before her and the threat approaching. For a long, suspended moment, the night held its breath. The elephant's sides heaved. The hyenas waited, and the newcomers drew closer, each step a rumble in the ground. Then the moonlight revealed them. 3 elephants, their hides pale arcs in the silver glow. Older cows, wide-shouldered and battle-worn, tusks chipped from years of defending life against lions, against drought, against time itself. They advanced without haste, but with a weight of presence that shifted the very air. Even the hyenas, so skilled at reading opportunity, faltered in their confidence. The pregnant cow stood still, her flanks trembling, ears angled forward, but her gaze steady. Her call had reached them. At her side now moved a matriarch, an immense one-eyed elephant, her remaining eye glowing amber beneath the moon. She didn't touch the younger cow, but her very presence was a shield, a wall of unspoken defiance. The hyenas read it instantly. Posture was its own language, and it told them the prey was no longer alone. But hunger claws deeper than fear. Hunger can bend instinct, make even the desperate bold. The torn-eared leader stayed rooted, her eyes fixed on the swelling belly, knowing weakness still lingered in the air. The matriarch swung her head slowly, that single amber eye sweeping over the pack with the calm of something that had outlasted storms and predators alike. She took one deliberate step forward. A ripple shuddered through the hyenas. Tails lowered, paws shifted, but the leader did not break. Her gaze stayed locked on the cow. The night seemed to lean in. A thin wind whispered over the plain, carrying dust and the faint metallic scent of old blood. Somewhere far off, a nightjar called, its delicate cry almost vanishing in the vast silence. The matriarch's ears twitched toward it, registering, calculating, as if already anticipating what else the night might bring. Then she moved closer, her massive shoulder brushing against the pregnant cow's flank, a gesture that was both comfort and command. And still, the hyenas arced wider, circling again, paws soft as whispers against the earth. The standoff was not over. Not yet. They were no longer lunging in head-on attacks. Instead, they tested the edges, searching for cracks in the herd's wall, probing for the smallest lapse in formation. The matriarch shifted her weight, her trunk sweeping the dust in slow, deliberate arcs across the ground. It wasn't a bluff. If they crossed a line, she would strike, and history had proved her kind could kill when balance tipped too far. But the night was long, and the predators were patient. The pregnant cow lowered her head for a moment, her trunk brushing lightly against the matriarch's foreleg. She was exhausted, more exhausted than she wanted to admit. Her legs trembled under the strain of holding her ground. Inside her, the calf pressed outward in restless motion, as if it could sense the danger waiting just beyond its mother's body. Her breaths came long and controlled, but every inhale cost her dearly. The hyenas saw it too. Two younger ones slipped in low from the flanks, snapping at the herd's edges with quick, darting strikes. The matriarch lunged, her tusks slicing the air with such force that dust spiraled upward. But the attackers were already gone, pulling back just far enough to keep the game alive. Every swing, every pivot drained more strength from the elephants, and the predators knew it. They only had to wait until exhaustion opened the door for them. From the shadows, the torn-eared leader crouched low, her body still, her breathing steady. She wasn't planning to overwhelm them anymore. Her strategy was patience, pressing and pressing until instinct itself, not choice, unraveled the elephant's defenses. The moonlight caught in her eyes as she waited. For a moment, the pregnant cow faltered again. The matriarch sensed it, the quiet calculation, in her enemy. She stepped forward, planting her body more fully between the cow and the circling pack. But in shielding the front, she left the rear exposed. One of the younger predators crept into that gap, jaws snapping close, dangerously close, to flesh. The pregnant cow rumbled, low and urgent, her call cutting the night sharper than any tusk. Instantly, the other cows shifted, their positions tightening, tusks angled into shadows. The tension pulled the world taut. It felt as though the whole plain itself held its breath. And then, from beyond the grassland's edge, came a sound none of them expected, a deep vibration, distant yet powerful, rolling not through the air but to the ground itself. Not thunder. No, it was heavier, slower, and it was drawing closer. The matriarch's ear twitched. Her single eye narrowed, not in fear, but in recognition. The hyenas froze mid-stride, their eyes flashing toward the horizon. Even the torn-eared leader lowered her head slightly, as if she could already feel the weight of what was coming. The pregnant cow lifted her head high, her trunk stretched toward the night sky, catching a new scent in the wind. Whatever approached wasn't predator or savior in the simple sense. It was something older, larger, its own force entirely. The vibrations grew stronger, pulsing through bone and chest. The air shifted, carrying with a metallic tang. Not blood, but churned earth, distant rain, though no clouds marked the sky. The matriarch stood firm, but the pregnant cow shifted uneasily, her ears folding halfway back, caught between curiosity and dread. The hyenas had stopped advancing. Their leader's nostrils flared, her gaze no longer fixed on the elephants but on the horizon. She could smell it too. And then, Breaking the grass line, a lone bull elephant emerged. His tusks were uneven, one worn blunt with age, the other curving sharp like a crescent blade. His hide was carved with deep gouges, scars from old battles etched into the map of his skin. His walk was deliberate, almost thoughtful, each step heavy with meaning. He was not of the matriarch's herd. His scent carried no trace of their bond. Yet his presence here was not chance. The matriarch's trunk lifted, releasing a low, throaty rumble. It wasn't a greeting. It was a question of intent. The bull slowed, his gaze sweeping over her, over the weary pregnant cow, and finally settling on the semicircle of hyenas. Something in his stillness unsettled them. They widened their formation, careful now, keeping all elephants in sight, while putting distance between themselves and the newcomer. The bull's trunk curled low, dragging across the earth, stirring the dust in a slow arc. To the untrained eye, it was nothing, but in the language of elephants, it was layered. A reminder of his size, a declaration that he would not be moved easily. Yet he did not close in. He lingered at the edge of Moonlight, his face unreadable. The matriarch's ear twitched faintly, and the pregnant cow, sensing something in that silence, edged closer to her side. Inside her, the calf shifted again, restless, pressing against her ribs. Her breath came faster now, not because of the hyenas, but because of the weight this bull carried with him. She could not tell if he came as protector, opportunist, or something in between. The hyenas sensed it, the uncertainty. Two of them lunged in quick, testing strikes at her hindquarters. The cow spun clumsily, the matriarch stepping back to close ranks. Dust kicked high, tusks slashed air, and still the bull did not move. He only watched, his eyes catching the silver light, reflecting a calculation that belonged to no one but him. And in that breathless pause, the pregnant cow turned her head toward him. It wasn't an appeal, it was recognition. Standing before her was another of her kind, larger, stronger, capable of tipping the balance in a single move. Yet his silence carried as much weight as any charge. In the world of elephants, intervention always came with a cost. The torn-eared hyena leader broke the fragile stillness. She slunk forward, shoulders low, releasing a guttural call. The pack tightened instantly, forming a crescent once more. Whatever they had read in the bull's stillness, it gave them courage. The matriarch answered with a single, deliberate step forward, her massive frame shielding the pregnant cow from view. The ground between predator and prey shrank again. But now there was a third presence, a shadow at the edge, unmoving, neither advancing nor retreating. The bull, his tail flicked once, swatting an insect. His gaze didn't shift. The night itself seemed to contract around that triangle of tension. Even the wind had gone still, as if unwilling to carry the scent of what was about to unfold. The pregnant cow lowered her trunk, brushing the soil, tracing a half-circle near her foot, a movement that was both grounding and restless. The hyenas stirred again, paws scraping softly at the earth. And then, from far beyond the plain, came a sound, faint, irregular, nothing like the deep vibration that had heralded the bull. This was thinner, sharper, carrying urgency. It pulled at the night, out of place yet impossible to ignore. Every head turned. The bull's ears flared. The matriarch froze mid-breath. Even the scarred leader paused, one paw suspended. The call came again, closer this time, not the voice of an elephant, nor the cry of a predator. It cut the stillness like splintering glass. Then came the rapid thud of something moving at speed. Too light for an elephant, too steady for fleeing antelope. The matriarch's single eye fixed on the horizon. The bull shifted, shoulders tightening, weight settling into readiness. The hyenas hesitated, reading the change in both giants. And then, out of the grass, burst a calf, no more than 2 seasons old, its body streaked with dust, trembling from exhaustion. Its cries, high, raw, desperate, ripped through the night. It didn't belong to the matriarch's herd. Its scent was strange, foreign. Yet it ran straight toward the pregnant cow, drawn to her shape, her smell, the promise of safety. The matriarch moved instantly to block it, fearing the distraction would shatter their line. But the calf pressed against her leg with blind desperation. Its tiny trunk reached for comfort it couldn't find. Its shallow breast tore at the air. The hyenas saw their opening flare like fire. The torn-eared leader barked a command, and the pack surged forward with brutal precision. The matriarch swung wide, her tusks slicing dust, driving two back. But others slipped low, aiming for the calf. That's when the bull moved. He charged, tusks flashing like blades of ivory. One hyena yelped, retreating with blood on its flank. But the cost of his movement was immediate. The pregnant cow had to pivot, exposing her side as she tried to shield the calf from being crushed into chaos. Two hyenas lunged for her rear legs. She lashed out, her kick catching one across the jaw, snapping bone, spinning it into the dirt, but the strain shuddered through her body. Her breathing grew harsh, ragged. The calf inside her twisted violently. Sensing the turmoil, the plain erupted into chaos. Dust rose in choking clouds. Tusks clashed, bodies collided. And through it all, the lost calf clung to the matriarch's side, pressing so tightly against her that her stride faltered. The bulls circled wide, driving the hyenas back toward the grass. But the predators regrouped with unnerving speed. Then the wind shifted. A heavy gust from the east carried the sharp, metallic tang of a storm, not the soft scent of rain, but something fiercer. Lightning cracked across the horizon, spilling raw white light across the plain. For a single heartbeat, every creature froze, their silhouettes etched against the brilliance. Thunder followed, low and rolling, but beneath it, another sound swelled. The deep, relentless roar of water, racing where none should be. The matriarch lifted her head, tasting the wind. The bull stood still, listening. Even the hyenas faltered, their hunger tangled with unease. Somewhere beyond the dark, a wall of floodwater was thundering toward them. The pregnant cow shifted, sides heaving. The calf pressed tighter against the matriarch's leg. Then the first drops came, fat, heavy, striking earth, staining the dust. Far across the plain, the roar grew into a single, deafening voice, water and storm merging as one. The matriarch decided first. With a sharp pivot, she turned her herd toward higher ground. Not running, not panicked, but with the unstoppable, steady force of survival. The bull paused, just for a heartbeat, his gaze sweeping over the hyenas. They lingered at the edges now, no longer bold, their hunger faltering in the face of the storm that pressed closer with every breath of wind. Then, with a slow inevitability, he fell in behind the herd, his massive frame guarding the rear. The predators did not follow. Hunger meant nothing against the greater force that was coming. The pregnant cow pushed forward, each step heavy, her breath breaking in ragged bursts. Beside her, the young calf stumbled along, not clinging to the matriarch anymore, but drawn instead to her, as though sensing a kinship born of struggle. She slowed her pace, adjusting just enough to keep the little one close, even as the roar of water swelled around them. By the time they reached the ridge, the flood had already arrived. A dark, rolling sheet surged across the plain, swallowing grass, earth, and silence in its path. Lightning ripped the sky apart, casting the world in silver for a fleeting instant. The hyenas were gone, their shadows wiped clean by the rain. At the ridge's edge, the bull stood tall, ears lifted to the storm, the lightning etching his scars into stark relief. The matriarch drew closer to the pregnant cow, her shoulder pressing gently against hers. A fleeting touch, but it spoke volumes. Wait, endure. Survival was never given, only earned. Below them, the flood raged, carving and reshaping the land in ways none could control. And there, against a restless sky, the pregnant cow stood steady, the calf leaning into her side, the two of them framed together beneath the storm. The rain softened at last into a steady hiss, washing the dust of the night from their skin.